pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You didn't mess around. What?
Not hurry.
What was he doing now? So we're going to start tonight with the department head briefing. We have Frank McGuire from the fire department here. How you doing, Frank? How are you? Doing all right. So, what's going on? Anything exciting down there?
First things first, Saturday we had a two-alarm fire on Depot Road. We had a really good response from our membership as well as from our mutual aid partners. I learned a few things, but things went pretty well all in all. Proud of the guys that were also out there, and they did a pretty good job. It was a tough spot. There was a vacant property, it hadn't been plowed, there was a bunch of snow and ice and stuff all over the place. And kicked their butts. It was a hard one, but they did a good job. So I was very happy with how we responded to that. One of the things me and you have talked about, and we're going to ask for tonight is we need a couple sets of gear, about 4 sets of gear in the stuff that Chuck just passed out. I've got a couple of quotes that I got offline that are just generic gear to give you an idea. And then I got 2 from Bergeron's, which is over in New Hampshire. Previously, we had used them for almost all of our gear purchases. They're a globe manufacturer. And then there's a quote in there from HSC and Wilson, and they do Viridian, and that was the last set of gear that we started ordering under Chief Merrill. Prior to everything going on, we had some discussion. Those of us that went Viridian aren't super happy with it. It's not very comfortable. It doesn't seem to be holding up as well. A lot of pinch points. I wear Globe at work, and I wear the Viridian here in town, and my Globe stuff at work is like head and shoulders above better than what we have that I wear here. Ideally, there's a quote in there from Bergeron's for it's called Globe G Extreme. We had previously been purchasing that. Lieutenant Howes has the last set of gear that we purchased. It's a little bit more expensive. The cheapest one on there is $1,500. It's also from Globe. It's a very generic set of gear. The outer shell is not the high, it's not a super high quality. The inner shell with the waterproof layer is not super high quality, so it gets beat up pretty quickly. And even talking to the Dale, who's from Bergeron's equipment, he says basically we had to make this stuff as cheap as possible to make the price point, but it's not, you're kind of getting what you pay for at that point. The Viridian is the next cheapest, $1,700. But again, same basic issues. It's very generic. They don't offer a lot of cut options, so it's the same basic body style coat for everybody. So when a guy my size and somebody Deb's size is getting the same basic form of coat. The nicest thing about the Globe that I want, the G Extreme, is they have 4 different cuts that they make the jacket in, so they can tailor it. So they have like a women's cut, so you tailor it a little bit better. They have a larger cut. They have an athletic cut. So the bag here, the gear is hanging off you. It tires you out. Falling through buildings, just dragging it around. You have extra weight hanging off you. So they did a lot of research with Boston Fire with several sets of gear. I can get you the report on that. It's pretty lengthy. But basically what they found out was that if you get gear that's more tailored to the firefighter, weighs less, they have documentation of their vital signs being lower. They're not breathing as hard. Their hearts aren't working as hard. They're not getting their butts kicked. So the chances of like an exhaustion injury or a heat injury or something like that are drastically reduced. So it's kind of hard to quantify what doesn't happen, but that little bit, the extra couple $100 for gear, would be covered by one guy not getting into a situation where they had heat exhaustion and transported to the hospital.
What about the last time?
The other thing is it will last better, and Roger Hooper, I spoke to him today about it, backing on this, it lasts longer, it wears better. Bergeron's is right in New Hampshire, so previously when we had issues with our gear, and the glow stuff, we jumped in the car, we drove 45 minutes out, Pittsfield, we handed the gear, we had it back usually, and Dale would drop it off to us, so we could go pick it up, and it was a very quick turnaround. Viridian's made somewhere out in the Midwest, so between getting it to HSE, getting it shipped out, getting them to fix it, there's a lot more of a lag time. I like the glow stuff better, and for all of those reasons, it lasts longer, it wears better, higher quality, it lets off. One of the things is that internal heat, the thermal barrier, it allows your body heat to escape quicker. So it's sort of like wearing like an Under Armour shirt when you're playing sports. You get that excess heat off your body, and you're not getting as beaten up. And it's the same thing. They have all this, it's all kinds of scientific studies they've done showing exactly how much cooler you are wearing the glow gear versus wearing other gears and others. To me personally, it's a couple extra dollars here is going to save us a lot in the long run in repairs, in firefighter health.
Okay.
No, I know money is definitely tight, but I think this is a situation where we should spend a little bit extra. We've tried the Viridian stuff. It's
Who's the gear for?
I have Freeman's Brake is wearing a hand-me-down set of the Viridian from JT. So depending on if he comes back or whatever ends up happening, he's potentially going to need that gear. Billy Stasiewicz is wearing gear that he's had since just after Chief Meeting started. And Billy covers 6 overnights a week. Billy made something like, Billy covers something like, I think 70% of the calls, and Billy's around a lot. So his gear gets worn a lot. His stuff is still serviceable, but I would like to use it. We have a couple of new guys that just started. They don't work as much. They're per diems. They work a few shifts a month. Issue them that gear, so it's still not getting as beaten up, so it doesn't go completely out of service. Give Billy a new set of gear. It'll be fit to him. It'll last us.
That gear fit
That gear will fit one of the guys in particular who's coming in. It just happens to work that way. Billy deserves new gear. Will need new gear one way or another shortly here.
Yeah.
By taking it off of somebody who's doing 70% of the call volume.
Right. No, the last several years it's
Getting
supposed to be
him,
worn out.
and it's the same thing that we do with the apparatus. We take the ambulances and we cycle them around. We have the new ambulance that we run most of the time, but everyone, we'll take. It's the same thing. It's just keeping it from getting beat up every day.
So instead of needing two new gears in there.
And that's the thing, is it's in the long run, it'll save us, because I'm not gonna have to come up here in 6 months when Billy ends up beating his gear up to the point where it's got holes in it.
Okay. I think we just ordered JT gear, didn't we?
That's the gear. And then he had ordered Viridian stuff, and then they decided they needed it for Freeman, and that was when JT had the jacket change and went and got pants. So, but he can't, depending on what happens, if he comes back and wear a white deputy chief's jacket, depending on how things happen.
Right.
So he may end up needing the black gear back.
Okay.
Freeman is wearing it, you saw the other night.
Yeah, it didn't fit him right, and I wouldn't have noticed if you hadn't said anything, but you could definitely see the difference between his gear it looked more like a potato sack on than.
The biggest thing is my gears are Viridian, and my gear at work is Glow G, as the G Extreme 3.0. It fits me very well. It's not extra baggy, and for us it's super important being in the submarines and stuff. We don't.
So that's 2 of them.
I got Freeman, Billy, looking at Jess Kelly, she's had her gear for a long time, same thing, she's around a lot, does a lot of work. And the gear she has is the same situation as Billy's. It can go to another member who's new, doesn't work as much, they can use that for a while, and it keeps it from going out of service immediately, buys us time. And Billy, Freeman, Jess Kelly. Right, written it down.
Is it one of the guys who was going through the process before and?
It's either gonna be Scott. We had a couple of discussions on who it was. It might be one of the new paramedics, or it might be. don't have it written down in front of me. It's gonna end up being the same situation. If somebody who has gear, we can put in a lower use role and get somebody who's responding a lot.
So, does anybody need gear right now? You have the.
No, we're at this point in time, and I just double checked, at this point in time, everybody who needs gear has it. They had just gotten that squared away, but we have no extra.
Okay.
So if somebody's gear went out of service, or if, like, we hired two, and they have no gear to give them. One of them has his own personal gear, but I want to avoid that happening because it's not our gear. If something happens to him wearing it, there's liabilities involved. So we should.
And that's one of the persons that.
Yeah, he was in the middle of the hiring process when everything went down with this investigation. I didn't want to leave them just dying on the vine. They already have all their paperwork and everything up here, so we finalized the process, but we don't have any gear to issue. So that's the other reason why we have to come up with gear somewhere and there's nothing at the station.
Okay. That's the one where I don't think we met them. Yeah, right?
The two new ones.
Yeah.
No,
But the process was.
That was always, that was all done.
Was he okay, were they okay to be
Yeah,
hired
one
by
of them-
chief already?
yes.
They told they were hired?
They were already in our computers. They were all in our systems. Chris Mayu had been up here, interviewed with his chief, had done the physical, and handed in all the paperwork and everything, and it stalled.
Is he the one that went on the walk around with chief, he told that?
Charles got a big, he might, I don't think so. I don't believe he did. And then there was another one, Brian Roy, who's from the area. His dad is Dan Roy. Brian's from the area.
He told us about them.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, because we had said when I sent the email.
Yeah, so-
He
Okay.
did tell us,
All
yeah.
right, I didn't want to say they were hired because of what we had talked about.
They were in the process, and it was just one of those things where.
That's what I thought that, but I wanted to make sure that.
Both of them are paramedics, so they're it's a good move. I just wanted to make sure that we had gear to issue them.
So are they gonna get the gear that?
They're gonna end up with the hand-me-down gear, because they're only working per diem shifts.
So who's, they're gonna get Jess's gear and Billy's gear?
Brittany Dixon's gonna fit in Jessica's gear. She's a new member, just got Fire 1 and 2, is just doing her EMT rider.
So she's gonna get Jess's.
She'll get Jessica's gear.
She doesn't have gear.
She has no gear.
Okay, and then these two guys will get gear.
Billy's gear,
Yeah.
and depending, it'll either get the JT gear, or it'll get, I can't remember off the top of my head what the other one was, but it's a similar situation, they'll fit.
So basically, you do need 3 sets of gear.
We need at least 3, really 4.
Okay, but right now, there's 3 people that aren't gonna have gear.
Yes,
Okay.
so, and I'd like to have one in the
Right,
lot.
no, I'm just trying to get the, yeah, no, I
Yeah, 3 desperately, and then we
Right.
like to have at least one set in case oh no situation, I can issue that gear
Right,
and send
I
it
got
to
you.
prepared.
Do you know yet how much gear you're gonna have that's gonna go out of periodicity this year?
We're pulling that information now. I think we're all set this year. I don't think we have anything going imminently, but I think early next year is when of course we have a few sets, so the next move on this is get the few sets we need now, and then come up with, either a bulk order between us or, and that was something we had discussed is.
Where do you have the helmet?
So the other issue is the helmet. The juniors went out, they took a lot of initiative, they did their fundraiser, they raised $1,200 for themselves for helmets. That doesn't quite cover the cost of an actual structural firefighting helmet. What they were able to get would be a forestry helmet. My issue is a lot of these juniors are now going on and they're taking the program up at Sanford and they're getting a firefighter 1 and 2. Well, that doesn't help me if I have to go and immediately take that forestry helmet, put it on a shelf and go buy them a firefighting helmet. I would like to use some of my budget to basically match what the juniors went out and got for themselves, get the structural firefighting helmet. It's better protection, it comes with the eye shield, it's a structural firefighting helmet, so when they go take their firefighting class, I don't need to get them another helmet, and a pinch can be issued and used. Those kids are more dedicated than they have any right to be. They're down there sweeping floors. When Chuck drove by the other day and saw the trucks out, there was a couple of juniors and a couple of regular members sweeping the floors. Mopping. They showed up at our fire. They're rolling hose in 20-degree weather, freezing along with the rest of us. They have all hand-me-down gear. They have some of the best attitudes I've ever seen, and they're very, very, they make it fun for us because they're so into it. They kind of remind us that, hey, you know what, we should be having fun with this. So
What happens if,
and that's exactly
what happens if they leave with the helmet? Who owns it?
we did. It would be a licensed issue gear just like anything else. So it goes right on a shelf upstairs. We would track it just like anything else. and it can be issued to another junior, or, you know, if we had a probationary member who needed a helmet, and all we had, we could do that, but it's another structural firefighting helmet, and we order them in orange, which is a color, they would, you know, very quickly designated as a non-structural junior member, so they can't do, you know, can't go interior firefighting, they can't do certain things, so on a fire ground, you saw how hectic it is, like, look, that's a kid, I can't get out of the way or go over here and do exterior stuff, I can't send him up there with a chainsaw on the roof.
Right.
And, you know, the forestry helmets are just, you know, the kids came up with $1,200, they're trying to do the best they can with what they have, they deserve better.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's not gonna cost more in the long run for us if they all go through all the helmets.
And again, if we buy forestry helmets, a lot of these kids are getting ready to go take their fireman too, and I'm gonna immediately have to turn around and come back and ask you guys now to buy structural helmets, and we pay the full bid on it. Right now, they've got $1,200, you know, that they went and got for themselves, and if we can match that, it's.
Let me ask you a quick question. Now, you said there are orange helmets for the juniors to distinguish them, right? So irregardless, they're gonna need new helmets once they get their fire one.
Once they get fire 1 and 2, everybody gets issued a black helmet, that's Seacoast Fire Chiefs. I have black helmets.
Okay, you have it.
I have some black helmets, and then, you know, and again, with our gear, in the long run, figuring out the gear, we'll come up with a replacement plan to make sure that we don't end up in a situation where we're going, oh my
The
God.
orange ones are just gonna be
The
for.
orange ones are gonna be juniors, and that's so we, you know, and.
Or a new person going to training.
And essentially, right, if a new person comes in and I don't have one of the yellow ones, the issue, I can give the orange one, it's the same thing. They're not certified, I'm not sending them in there anywhere to do anything without somebody there to oversee them, so. It'll make it better make it easier on me, it'll make it easier on the officers on the fire ground. And it'll be a point of pride to the kids that, you know, a helmet, not a hard hat.
So with them as well, they don't need turnout gear, right? And then the chief came in here probably about a month ago, I guess, said turnout gear should be custom made for you.
Yes, you should be fitted for your turnout gear, and that's what I'm talking about with the fitting and the size. When possible, you'd be fitted for your gear, NFPA, you have to have, it has to have like a 6-inch overlap.
So, you know, I was just wondering,
Yeah,
for those
so-
kids, you're gonna have to fit them for gear too, right?
I mean, if we get, if you have stuff in stock close enough, and Chief can attest to this, you give somebody the closest thing you have, as long as it fits them appropriately. Now, if I don't have gear hanging in the closet that's in date and is the appropriate size for somebody, then yes, I would have to go and order.
You don't like the Viridian.
No, the Viridian doesn't fit well, it doesn't last as well. Chief can attest that the Globe G Extreme is the $2,300. That's the industry standard, really. A lot of fire departments have gone to that.
So this Quaker one, you're not interested in that one either, then?
We tried out, I've worn Quaker before, I believe we tried Quaker, a set of Quaker gear. We tried Quaker, we had Alliance for gear. It was
I'm
almost.
just trying to read through these, cause
Yeah,
Morning Pride out,
Morning Pride's very expensive.
but you're not interested in that either for anybody.
No, we don't have a local dealer.
Okay.
So those 2 quotes were basically to give you guys just some other ballparks as far as what we have. Bergeron is the closest dealer. We had a previous relationship with Bergeron. I emailed Dale on a Sunday, one of those quotes came in 2 hours after I asked for it on a Sunday.
What is the difference between the Globe Classic SE and the Pioneer Globe?
The G Extreme.
Yeah, what's
The Classic SE is basically like their version of the Viridian. It doesn't have the custom fit.
so for $50, well, $100 more, $140 more.
$430.
$430.
I'm just looking at the code itself.
The code, yeah, overall it's gonna be about $400-ish.
Difference, and it's gonna last longer.
It wears better.
Yeah, I've never bought Viridian, but in the past, I've bought Quaker, I've had guys in Lion, I've had guys in Morning Pride, and other brands, Securitex and others. In the last 5 years, all I bought was the Globe gear from Bergeron. It wears better, the service from Bergeron is much better. Bergeron even has a repair facility, so if you have something that gets torn or whatever, you can send it off, they'll take it and they'll pick it up, deliver it. Much better company to business with. The gear is a little pricier, but
So and you're even saying that the GXT over the Classic is worth the investment?
G Extremes.
Yeah.
it's made over in
It's a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
local stuff.
Well, good with that too. I just wanted to weed through all this.
Yeah, I apologize. There's
I was trying to track everything you're saying.
Yeah. I think, and that's kind of my point. We spend that little bit of extra money now, and like I was talking about, they've done all of the studies on the exertion and, heart attacks killing firefighters and stuff like that.
So for the better gear, it's a difference of $1,720.
I don't even think it's that
You
much.
said 4 gear, right? At 430,
It'd be
1720.
four sets of gear, yeah.
Yeah, 1720.
So,
Yeah, okay.
And have we bought any gear this year?
not since January, I know we have, I can't remember if JT came in on this year's or last year's.
I think it was in November. Remember, could we looked up to see if any gear had been ordered? Nothing's been reported since November.
Oh, these must be the pants we got.
That must be JT's pants they went up, and I think they went to Bergeron and bought those off the shelf.
This is where they went, the first sale.
Yeah, Bergeron was doing it, they were doing an inventory reduction, they had a bunch of stuff on.
So one more I wanna read through, the helmets.
Yeah, that's,
You got 12 of them you want at 2,500, and those are
they
the,
have $1,200 to ship it.
those are the,
That's a firefighting
That's the
structure.
one you want, right?
Yeah, that's the cheapest one there is.
and then this one,
That's the same helmet.
the same helmet.
That's the same, what that is,
Looking to
so
get.
that was the one helmet, that just shows the one price, the
Yeah.
one helmet.
Yeah,
And then the other one shows the overall price for the 12.
just trying to track all what you're looking at, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's
left over in that $10,000 donation that hasn't been applied to anything. That's been used on some other things, but there's about 4,000 left in that. As well, I didn't know what our restrictions were on using that.
Not doing anything to fire.
We got $3,100 more we gotta cover someplace now.
For fire.
No, yeah, fire. Radios.
Okay.
You guys gonna bring a plate on it? Well, that's a good time. So
And
just,
there's 11,000 left in the equipment budget, which is where the pants came out of pay for.
Yeah,
And then,
equipment we have gear.
and then there's 3,100 in the radios.
yeah, it's 3,100. 3,150 is outstanding goal for radios right now.
All right, we can talk about it and try and figure it out and.
Okay. You ready to see this?
Yeah.
Shell game stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and figure out, I mean, I would think that at least 3 are in order and then maybe wait a couple
Even
months for
3,
the
and
one.
then, yeah, if we wanna wait.
And I'd like to do the junior, the helmets on the junior thing again, to just come down to whether that money that is donated can be spent on that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's fire department equipment, so it's, they get all the same, their gear is the same stuff in the same closet, issued the same way, so.
How much do we pay them to work, to do all this stuff?
$0.
Oh,
They do it for nothing,
New training.
$399.
$3.99. So,
all right,
the only other thing is I have a couple of training requests, Jenna Cole, needs an EMT refresher, her license expires end of March.
okay,
So this is an online refresher, one of our other members has done it, $247.50. She can do an online knockout, fire it off to the state, and they're pretty good about getting, it should keep her from lapsing. If she has to go sit through it in class, in like a, she'll not lapsing by the time they finish it and getting it into the state. I don't know where the hang up was, I don't know if she worked with, who she worked with or whatever, but she didn't get the opportunity, so I'm trying to make sure her license doesn't go away, because she does cover shifts. Scott Colwell, one of our new guys, just got his EMT, actually certified, I think it showed up today. This is $21 that he had to pay the state for his licensing fee.
Okay.
Usually we cover that, so that's that. Southern Tool, there's some fuel for the sauce that we had done, and then some fuel card purchases, receipts, pretty generic stuff.
was there any other training?
No, not right now. Oh, no, excuse me, there's one more, Freeman Sprague. He put in the EMT class, he had to put in, it's $1,000, which is actually pretty good. It's at McGregor EMS over in Durham, New Hampshire, right outside of UNH. Freeman's Fire 2 has been in the fire service for a while. He's an Army vet, does a lot of work with our juniors, and is looking to get his EMT license and start helping out on that front. He's been a huge help to me personally and for the department while all of the stuff in flux is happening. So he's been a huge asset. So this is his training request.
So you go to a lot of calls?
Yeah, Freeman's covering right now for his daughter's birthday. He's covered an obscene amount of hours. When this first happened and we had the open shifts, Freeman said, I'll take all of them, and then as people who want them, they can take them from me, but I'll take whatever's there. Much to, married within the last few months, and, he's got kids and stuff.
He wants to get out of the house?
Yeah, he's put in an astronomical amount of months now, so. So yeah, him getting his EMT would be a huge help to the department as well.
Okay.
So other than that, we met with Chief Hooper today. We kind of got a game plan at this point. So.
All right, well, I'll go into this right now. I know we had talked before and I got the okay from the majority to name you interim deputy chief.
Yep.
I mean, you've done an amazing job down there. Just the communication alone has been eye-opening for me, and how hard you've worked. And I know there's been some sacrifice with the family, with the kids and with the kid and wife. So I recognize it, and I think everybody else does, and I think the town should too. So I'm going to do my best at reading this. The press release that we're putting out. The Lebanon Board of Selectmen today has formally requested and received a pledge of services from York County officials to assist the community in resolving concerns raised within the Lebanon Fire and EMS Department. Chief Roger Hooper, the former Goodwin Mills Fire Rescue Chief who now serves as York County Fire Administrator, has been retained to assist the current ranking officer of the Lebanon Fire and EMS Interim Deputy Chief Frank McGuire with the day-to-day management of the department. Additionally, Chief Hooper will be conducting an administrative review and readiness assessment of fire and EMS department operations in Lebanon with the goal of providing a comprehensive report to town officials about how the community can best move forward. Our primary goal is to ensure that emergency services in Lebanon remain running at full capacity and the town has a path forward for future success, Chief Hooper said. It's my sincere hope that the Lebanon Fire and EMS Department will emerge stronger than ever through the process. As a board earlier this month, we placed Fire Chief Steve Merrill and Deputy Chief J.T. Harmon on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of the assessment by the York County officials as well as investigations by the town's Human Resources Department. The outside engineering firm John Turner Consulting Inc. and air quality firm Environmental Safety and Hygiene. The investigation stemmed from complaints received by selectmen from members of the department, including serious allegations about the condition of the facilities and equipment in the Fire EMS department. The administrative review process is set to begin March 1st and is expected to be completed in 6 to 8 weeks. The Lebanon Fire and EMS department is a combination of per diem and on-call department. The per diem first responders work during the daytime hours. On-call firefighters, medics respond to calls from home during the evenings and overnights. The department remains operational, but with its 2 top officers who also respond to calls on leave. Lebanon has briefed its mutual aid partners, including Rochester, New Hampshire Fire Department. The Lebanon Selectmen wish to assure the residents of Lebanon that the Fire and EMS Department will continue to provide service uninterrupted. And the town of Lebanon is committed to providing reliable, quality emergency services. So we want everyone to know that things are under control and introduce Chief Hooper. I couldn't appreciate more you coming
Welcome aboard.
on board to help us out in this situation.
Happy to do it.
So, anything you want to?
Captain White and I met this afternoon, had a nice discussion about our ideas of where we're gonna go. I'm gonna come up tomorrow, and I'll probably spend a good part of tomorrow here just getting the lay of the land and seeing what things are like, and then I plan to try. My intent is to get up here for a couple hours every day throughout the week, and even a couple days a week spend the day up here. Like I said the other night we were talking, I'm going to go through the compliance directives and Bureau Labor standards, and first we'll make sure that everything's in compliance with what BLS looks for. We'll go through, make sure we get training records that reflect that, individual medical records are up to speed, we'll look at maintenance records on equipment, hose, general gear, and you know, making sure that those kinds of things are in compliance. And then we'll look at administration, organization, and SOPs. We'll take a good look at what we've got for SOPs in the book and what are all different ideas for SOPs, and come up with a plan for that too. And then by the end of this, I hope this doesn't take up to 6 weeks. I'd like to get it done in 2 or 3 weeks. And then, yeah, we'll put together a findings and a roadmap, and this is where we're at today, and this is where we should be, and we can go from there.
Awesome.
And the county manager briefed the county commissioners on this project, and everybody's supportive, and you know, we'll get things on the right track,
Well, and I want to thank Jeff, Selectman Adams. I mean, it wouldn't happen. I didn't even know who you were.
Thanks so much.
So, Jeff, I mean, this was big for Jeff to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't even know who you were, and this couldn't be a better way for this to be happening for the town, I think.
Yeah, well, my position was, I was hired in October, and this was something that was in the works for about 2 years, and then it finally got funded by the county commissioners, and I started the job in October. We're the only county in Maine that has a fire administrator, and I'm the first one that York County has ever had. And situations like this is one element of my job, and another element of my job too is to look at ways that we can regionalize services between municipalities and come up with more efficient ways to provide fire and EMS services around the county, particularly like in the area of staffing, because that's probably our most expensive piece of all this, and it is the most in demand these days. And yeah, so you know, there'll be some other incentives that'll be coming down the road you're gonna hear about, hopefully, you know, in a few months, to help deliver some of the stuff in more efficiently.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I'm extremely happy. Thanks again, Jeff. That was a great idea. Yeah. So, all right. So I guess we'll talk.
Yeah,
Rob
so
said
you guys
gear and whatnot. And is there anything else you need from us or anything like that?
I don't know, right now, I mean, that was pretty much it, you know, pretty good. Chief Hooper's,
Well, I want to thank you too for everything you've done too.
like I said, I thought I was in a position to help, and, yeah, this would be, for me personally, this is gonna be an excellent opportunity to kind of learn my trade craft a little bit from somebody who's kind of been there and done it for a while, so.
Sometime.
Yeah.
You've taught a lot of classes, is that right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've instructed for the Maine Fire Service Institute for many, many years. I've instructed our firefighter 1 and 2 program modules often. I recently did a assisted with instructor in a basic fire officer class that Lieutenant Howes was in.
Yeah.
That guy was in.
He raved about it.
Yeah.
He was very excited.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
And that press release, you're okay with sending that out?
Yep.
So I'll fire it
out
out.
tomorrow.
Well, I was gonna fire that off to our PR firm tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
He's waiting for it.
I'll make a few changes on it.
You make edits on it? Okay.
You can give them that.
Do you want to read all those
Yeah.
seats?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
We have the name there.
Did you have the name of the engineering firm?
Yeah. And the name of the air quality.
Okay, excellent, yeah. So I'll get this off to.
So they'll send it to everybody around. Word copy.
Let me see it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it, Frank. Thank you again.
I forgot that.
Conservation Commission?
They're doing a presentation.
Yeah. The library.
So we're not on there. Public participation. Deborah?
Yeah.
I just wanna say that,
Oh, here's your copy, I made sure you had it.
I was wondering if you were gonna give me one, thank you.
Yep.
First, I just wanna say that, you guys did a great job, the chief was a great guy, and, perfect for what has to be done here. Good job, Jeff. Yeah, and, I guess the next thing that I just wanna go over is, has the mold issue been resolved, have we looked at the
Well, it's not
mold?
resolved, but we had Servpro come out. They went through the building. They said visually, everything seems fine, but the only way to really tell is an air quality test. So, they recommended a company out of Westbrook, whose name is in that press release. They gave us a very rough estimate of $3,800, because they want to know the cost.
Just for that air quality test?
Just for the test, and depending how it comes back, depending on the results, it depends on the price.
But they saw no mold.
Well, there's nothing out of the ordinary for a building that age, nothing that looks scary, nothing that, but he said you really can't tell. And I met him down there today, the gentleman who worked for them, he's very professional, easy to talk to, explained a lot to me. Probably spent more time talking to me than he should have, considering, but like I said, he took all kinds of samples, explained the different kinds of spores, and he didn't see anything on the surface either. I mean, he saw some things that probably need to be sealed and covered, but he.
Because of past damages, I would imagine.
Yes, but his guess is that, again, there's probably nothing active, because if there was, he said we would have known it through a health issue.
I'm horribly allergic to mold, and I'm in here all the time.
Well, he explained to me the difference in some are active or passive, or I forget. But certain ones set it off, and other ones are just, like I said, should be treated, but they have no irritant to humans. So that I think takes, what, 4 weeks to get back? About 4 weeks to get that report back.
Okay. So can I ask, and I know I have to ask you, can I ask why it was said that there's a mold issue at that station? I can't tell you how horribly allergic I am, and I'm in there all the time. So I'd
Well,
like to know
there's a
why
few-
that was said, why that's.
It was something I was gonna bring up at the Thursday meeting before all of it went down. From there and talking to one of the guys and looking at some of the rooms. So it was something that I was a little concerned about and was gonna bring up.
So you thought that whatever you were seeing, you thought it was mold?
Well, I noticed, I wanted someone to look at it. I don't know if we would've gone this far if, after what Servpro said. He said he really doesn't think there's an issue, so I don't know, but I think it's best that it.
What did Servpro give you any indication what you were looking at, that you thought was mold, or that someone?
No, I didn't, well, like today, when he pointed out some things in the boiler room, it's definitely mold. He pointed out that there's water marks on the inside of the back door.
Okay.
He said, anytime you see
The
that.
chief did ask for a new back door too, because he
Yeah.
said that was leaking, because.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that, but that's beside the point, because the water was already in.
Right.
So, I just think it's an older building and it probably doesn't need to be sealed up. And he explained that if the air quality's fine, it's basically just treating the wood and whatnot there and sealing where the leak is and covering inside. So if that comes up, it won't be that expensive to take care of. If it comes back the other way, then it could be very expensive, so.
It's trying to knock over wood, but I had to settle for plastic, okay, no, the other thing that I wanted to say was that, Sunday night, 9 o'clock on the National Geographic Channel, we have a fellow from Lebanon who's going to be on the show Wicked Tuna. It's a 15-week show. I've never seen it, but I guess it's have you seen it?
He's friends with some of the guys on there, aren't you? Don't you know some of those guys? Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
So anyway, it starts Sunday night at 9 o'clock, and a fellow from Lebanon is on it. People are talking about it all over town. I'm pretty excited about it. Next thing I'm gonna tell you about is the raffle from the East Lebanon Fighter Corporation. So we're still trying to get all of the prizes. They haven't all been turned over to us at this time. I think out of 42 possible prizes. I think, we currently have 34 of them, which is better than it was last week, so we're working on it. I contacted some of the people that had donated prizes and they said they were never picked up. I've gone and picked them up. I had a couple of other people in town here giving me, I'm sorry, Chuck, giving me additional prizes. Don't look. Giving me, I have more than 2 minutes, giving me additional prizes. So things are evening out, but, so we've blocked it off into like 1 week blocks now. There are 5 separate 1 week raffles. And, the people who had bought the $10 tickets, we've created 5 $2 tickets for each of them. They'll have 1 ticket in each raffle. And then next week, we're gonna open it up for the week-long raffle and let people purchase additional tickets, because now we do finally have that under control. We've been doing live videos that have been being shown on the Fire and EMS and on LMTS. We've been having a lot of fun with some of the donors, and I think people are starting to lighten up about it a little bit, because they're seeing that they're actually, this is gonna work out. So, I wanted to thank all the fire corporation people and all the firefighters who have helped us kind of revamp this and put this together, and just to show you that we're working on those last 8 or 9 prizes, and hopefully we're gonna get those turned over to us. And if not, I've told the fire corporation, if not, I have to hold them accountable, and they're gonna have.
Are you part of the corporation?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm not, I'm just helping them, but, I told them, I'm gonna have to hold them accountable, and they're gonna have to go and purchase the prizes that were promised, out of the ticket proceeds, so, and they've agreed, so, I'm just letting you know the rest of the corporation is, working with us on that, and
Alright, awesome.
so that's my big news, cause that was the most important to get fixed, so,
Anything else? You gonna go later?
later, yeah, I got some stuff for you later.
We can take you now, Matt, if you want. You wanna come to the table? Do you have copies of your paperwork?
Yeah, I only have 3 though, so I'll have to share.
I can go make a couple more copies now, while you're doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's probably good. And then what else do you have there?
The map is on the bottom, it's the last page. This isn't for me, so I can read it to you.
Oh, I got you, okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing you got, but it is my copy of it.
Let's wait for her to get back.
Okay.
Copies. Have a seat.
Cool, good, it's really hot here.
This long.
That kid was sweating, I think.
Like 73, whew, man. I like to play with me.
Got the kid lock on it, so I can't play with it.
AC turned on.
I'd have it at 60. I'd have it at 60 fans at each corner.
Oh, do you have a copy? You don't have a copy.
No, it's your,
The important part I'm gonna highlight is really the second to last page. The rest is just a statute, but I wanna make sure the whole thing is printed off so you guys understand.
Okay, we'll go over.
So I had these made, she didn't have time to stay with it because she came out. So here's the original one, huh? Should I keep it?
You can, yeah,
You can have one.
I'll keep it.
That's what I had for me.
Oh,
so I could keep it.
okay, it's coming back, I'm like, that seems a lot thinner than the one I had.
Well, she asked if mine was double sided.
Yeah, it's fine.
Alright, so what's up, Matt?
So, what I wanted to do is talk to you guys for a few minutes about ATV access routes. Right now, we're kind of in a need for an ATV access route because
Who's we?
the Sanford Maine ATV Club.
Perfect.
We currently have a little over 400 members. Within the surrounding towns, Sanford, Lebanon, and Acton, there's over 1,100 registered four-wheelers.
this sport is just growing more and more. And one of the problems we're having right now, and we're working with the state on, is that ATVs are riding the road. They're riding 202 from Upper Middle Road down to trains. So I printed off a map. The blue line is currently where the trail is. The black line is where we used to have a trail that's been shut down. And the red line is coming off Rose Lane, coming down Upper Middle, and then using Creamery Hill. So what people are doing is coming down Upper Middle, which everyone is aware of, even the residents have 25-mile-an-hour signs, which they have no issues with. But then they're riding 202, which the state's not okay with.
How many miles is that on that?
Total mileage is 1.6 miles from Rose Lane, down Upper Middle, down Creamery Hill, is a total of 1.6 miles.
So it's like 0.8 or something like that?
Yeah, 0.8 on each side of 202. What I wanted to do, I printed out this statute because before when I talked to other towns, they're not sure what their ability is as a town. If you kind of look at the second to last page on that statute, under H, that's going to talk, basically the whole statute's talking about ATVs on the road. ATVs can't be on the road for more than a distance of 1,500 feet. Beyond that, it's illegal. But ATV access routes can be opened up by municipalities, and that's what Section 8 is bringing out. And I just wanted to, and I can read it if you want, or.
I want to read it right here on it.
Okay, it says notwithstanding paragraphs A through G, which talk about the laws of ATVs not being able to ride the road. An ATV may be operated on the extreme right of a public way, or as directed by the appropriate governmental unit within the public way of a municipality or an unorganized or unincorporated township, if the appropriate governmental unit has designated the public way as an ATV access route, which is what I'm requesting, or the ATV club is requesting. An ATV must travel in the same direction as motor vehicle traffic on a public way designated as an ATV access route. A public way designated by an appropriate governmental unit as an ATV access route must be posted conspicuously at regular intervals by that governmental unit with highly visible signs designating the ATV access route. Now that would be something that wouldn't befall upon the town, but it would befall upon the ATV club to make sure that the trails are marked appropriately, which we, under the ATV program, we have to use the green signs for it, and we have to mark it per their rules. I said before designating a public way as an ATV access route, that ATV the appropriate governmental unit shall make appropriate determinations that ATV travel on the extreme right of the public way, or as directed by the appropriate governmental unit within the public way, may be conducted safely and will not interfere with vehicular traffic on the public way for purposes of this paragraph. And now it's defining what that appropriate governmental unit is. It says means the Department of Transportation, county commissioners, or municipal officers within their respective jurisdictions, which is what you guys are selecting, or the municipal officers. The jurisdiction of each appropriate governmental unit over public ways pursuant to this paragraph is the same as its jurisdiction over the passage of vehicles on public ways pursuant Title 29A, Section 2395. Municipal or county law enforcement officials having jurisdiction have primary enforcement authority over any route established under this paragraph. I wasn't quite sure what that meant, so I called the ATV director today, the ATV from the state of Maine. His name is Brian Bronson, and he said if you had any questions, he's more than willing to communicate via email or phone call. I can provide that.
Who's he?
Brian Bronson.
What's his title?
He's the director of the ATVs for Maine.
He works for the state?
He works for the state, yeah. Yeah, the state of Maine.
Okay.
I think his title is ATV director, I believe is what it is.
The job at the state?
It's a job to say, yeah, he oversees all, so when we apply for funding for trails and stuff, we have to apply to Brian Bronson, and he's either gonna approve or not approve a grant to do trail maintenance or whatever.
Cool.
So he oversees the entire ATV program for the state of Maine.
That's cool. What did he say it was now?
So when I asked about this jurisdiction, he said in a lot of, some with towns that have police departments, they'll usually make an ordinance, and within that ordinance, then the police department for that town can enforce the ordinance. He goes, where there's no police department, you're gonna have state police, so you're gonna fall under state law. So say the speed limit for the road is 30, He goes, your ATV travel would be 30 in that statute, and if they go beyond 30, then it would be whatever, if it's the sheriff or the state police can enforce a speeding ticket in that area. He also pointed out, he goes, make sure you mention to people that when you talk that ATV travel, when people think they're trying to go from, somewhere they're not supposed to be, they tend to go really fast and because they don't want to be seen. So they're going to travel extra fast when it's not an ATV access route. But when it is, and you post a speed limit, they're much more apt to use that speed because they don't want to lose the access route, and they know they're in the right. They're not doing something illegal, so they're not trying to go as fast as they can to get around it. So the problem is, people are going to trains right now, and they're not going to stop going to trains, and I wish we could stop everyone. There's just so many ATVs out there that want to get gas or want to get food that they're just using 202, and this would provide a legal way for the ATVs to still access trains. And again, it's a popular sport. That's just registered ATVs is 1,100. There's a ton of ATVs on the trail that aren't registered. It's just a growing sport. And I think it would be a way to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to and keeping them off of 202, which is just unsafe to begin with.
What about the trail that goes to the trains? Does that get
Correct. That's the black line there. Harvey Wallingford owns that lane, and he doesn't want anyone on his property anymore.
Oh.
So we tried to contact him. We actually tried to buy that from him, the land, because he said at one point that he'd be willing to sell it. The Snowmobile Club and the ATV Club has tried to communicate to get a price from him, and we were going in a year and a half, getting nowhere. So this is what we're trying to come up with for a solution.
Didn't you guys clean up? I saw the pictures on Facebook, do a huge cleanup and.
Yeah.
What trail was that? Was that the one that got closed?
No, so that's on, that's the rail trail in Sanford. So that was a huge impact and a huge win for both Sanford and the ATV Club. So the Sanford ATV Club formed because there was no one maintaining the rail trail with the ATV traffic on. And so when the club formed, we were doing huge pickups in the spring and in the fall, picking up trash along the trail. We had the rail trail graded last year. So we're having a positive impact. All the people walking on it now say ATV traffic is much more respectful. They're going slower because they're educating people, saying, you're in town, there's places to go fast, there's places to be in the mud, but when you're in town around a bunch of houses on the rail trail, slow down. We have multi-use trail signs all over that trail now to let them know horseback riders, bicycles, people walking are on that trail. So it's really a huge education. The sport's going from people just riding wherever to more structured and just educating people on how to be safe and respect everybody that they're around, whether they're other people on the trail or houses in the area.
What if people start going down the road and we get calls and there's all kinds of complaints from Creamery Hill and the other places?
So we would try to resolve that issue right away. It would be probably an issue where we would trail cam it. A lot of issues we've had in the past, we had a mud hole where people continued to use it even after we signed it. So we put a trail camera in, we posted pictures of the person in the mud hole, and we did not have an issue. We haven't had an issue for a year and a half after that. Because people knew we were watching, and that's usually all it takes. But if there was continued problems, you could remove that access at any time. So we could go post all the signs tomorrow, and then the following day you could say, no, we don't want it, because we have too many complaints, and that would end the access, and we'd have to pull all the signs up. So there's no long-term.
So they'd be motivated to follow the rules because they don't want to lose the access to get to trains.
Yeah, yep, that's what it is everyone wants to be able to access trains for food and fuel. And the ATV community kind of self-polices. You're always going to get one or two yahoos. It's inevitable. Right, exactly. You're never going to stop them all, but there's enough peer pressure in traffic that even on the rail trail, you'll see if someone's acting stupid, usually you'll have somebody pull up probably knock it off. We don't want to lose the trail. So once you get the right people involved in policing the trail, they kind of police themselves. This is what we found so far. And signage is huge. You'll have people go off trail a lot of times because they have no idea where the heck they are.
What would the signage say on that you put up?
Yeah, so we'd have 3 signs probably. It'd be, I'd say, an ATV access route, which is green and has a 4-wheeler on it. That has to be there by law, by the state of Maine. And then we could designate 25 miles an hour, even though it's not going to be anything we can enforce. The speed limit of the road is enforceable, but if we just put 25, people will do 25, at least the ones that are respectful. And then a sign under it that says, let's say stay on pavement, because you don't want ATVs on the side because it degrades the shoulder. It'll say, what did I have on the sign? someone else, you know, use appropriate speed and then, or lose trail access. So just a warning there, so it gets people thinking if they just see the sign that they're gonna lose access for this access route if they are speeding or riding abusively. It just, sometimes that's all people need, especially as a kid. I remember riding my four-wheeler and being stupid, but if I saw a posted sign, I knew, all right, don't go past the posted sign. But that's all I knew as a kid. I used to drive really reckless, but I would still see the sign. So seeing a sign that says, you know, lose access unless I go 25, all right, and then it gets you thinking and, you know, makes sure you're driving appropriately.
So the road you're looking for access, I assume, is Creamery Hill.
Upper Middle and Creamery Hill, yeah. So the trail currently comes out right on Rose Lane. And then, so it's a very, very small section of Rose Lane and it comes down Upper Middle, which people are already traveling that currently. Creamery Hill would be a new part where that they don't see ATV traffic because people are just going down 202.
Right.
But it'd be directing them on a legal manner to use Creamery Hill Road instead of coming down 202.
You said to stay on the pavement.
Yeah, to stay on the pavement, yeah. The worst thing that they can do is be off. So if you look at 202 right now and see, yeah, it's like, it's way lower because that's where the ATVs keep going. And so it's degrading that shoulder, which is really not good. So not only does DOT not want them on a 55-mile-an-hour road, but they're also causing road damage too. So I wish we could just stop them all, but this would be I think a win for everybody. It would be a safety win for the ATVs getting off of 202, and it'd also be a win for the community, ATV community, to get legal way. Yeah, yours is in color, sorry.
Okay. It's okay, I'm just trying to see where everything matches up.
You're gonna have a noise problem.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
We have ATVs going up and down Green Hill Road now, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of houses on that road that are close to the road.
Yeah, I think there was, I went down the road, there's 9 houses, I think, on that road. Are they going excessively fast? Is that what the noise is, or?
My mother lives on that road too. I do a lot of work at her house, and
Yeah.
it's just a buzzing sound.
Yeah.
It just gets annoying.
Yeah.
It might be the speed, I don't know what's the difference in speed when you're doing 25 and what's the
A
speed?
lot depends on the machine.
Yeah, some of them are pretty loud,
Yeah,
just when they do wheelies.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. When they're horsing around and going fast and, doing what they're not supposed to, it can be super obnoxious and loud, absolutely. And that was one of our big concerns on the rail trail is noise. And we did a lot to alleviate the noise on the rail trail, because that gets tons of use. I mean, they have ATVs constantly down the rail trail in Sanford, and the houses are very close.
So that black is Mr. Wallensford, right? That's
Correct. The black line is Harvey's property. That's right behind the
mobile home park.
mobile home park, yeah.
It was a rail trail too.
Correct. When I spoke with him 2 years ago, he said somebody in the mobile home park had a four-wheeler and he didn't want them in there, and they drove towards him like they were gonna run him over. And he's like, I'm gonna shut the whole trail down, so he's just shut everything down since then. Yeah. Yeah, all it takes is one, I would love to find that guy. But unfortunately, we can't change his mind, and we would like to.
Say that was open for forever.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah, for the snowmobile club, it's huge, because that trains, it was the last stop on ITS 89, which is, state main trail, so.
I really like the idea of getting them off the highway. I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know your options are very thin, but that's the drawback.
I'm curious, so what did you offer Mr. Wallensford there, to rent it or maintain it or what?
To buy it, we were gonna buy the land from him, yeah.
What's the speed limit on Creamery Hill?
It's just the rail trail itself is a piece that he bought from the town, I think, 25 years ago.
Under
Taxes, it was super cheap.
Yeah.
It's 8 acres, it's because it's only about, I think it's a 40 foot, that's 40 foot wide, a mile long, that's it. Yeah, it is, it's just the rail trail, that's it.
It's rough,
They sold
anything
it.
really except for that trail.
Yeah, it's a rough trail.
Really for anything but that trail.
Correct, it's not usable except for that trail, yeah.
They used to run vehicles out there too.
Yeah, because it's nice and wide, you go right in, but Cemetery Road, most of that's owned by a Lazy Frog, and then it turns into some guy's private land at the end. but they're okay with ATVs, so you're getting all the traffic from Lazy Frog, all those wheelers there, they're still going to trains, whether it's down 202 or not. Because they're camping there and they wanna go out to eat, that's, you know, I don't want them to, I'm just trying to find options to get people to trains, you know, without going to 202, yeah. So that's what I wanted to propose and just show, you know, there's a statute where, you know, as municipal officers, the selectmen can approve it or not approve it, and also let you know what the ATV club can offer you. And a lot of the concerns that Sanford had with the rail trail are the same concerns you would probably have with people going down Creamery Hill, which would be noise, the amount of traffic going down there. It's pretty much the two. I mean, dust was a main concern.
I'm curious, on the other side with Harvey shutting you off, there's a river, and on the other side of the river, there used to be a trail, why is that one not being used?
I wanna say it still dumps in, so it turns into swamp, and then you have to
Come out
get back
back
on.
with another Dunkin' Donuts, that's where it came out.
Correct. So, but if you go on the rail trail down the hill away from the rail trail, because you can't come up towards Harvey's Land, or if you're looking at this map, you can't go to the right-hand side, so if you're talking about going to the left, that turns to swamp well before you get to trains, and you can't make it to that, I mean, that's
It's
legit swamp.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, right. But so. Yeah, exactly. I'm a mud guy, I love the mud, but.
When I was a kid, I did bikes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that bridge still passable on Upper Mill?
Yes, yep, that got decked by a resident,
Yeah.
so that's passable by ATVs still use that to come down Ebo and come down Upper Mill from the other side and across the bridge.
Now, do the snowmobiles still use those trails?
Yep, this is all snowmobile trail, and they're running into the same issue, they're gonna have even worse of an issue because they can't ride the road like an ATV, so
Yeah.
they're really stuck right now with Harvey because they're not talking to him either, I think. Travis, the president of the snowmobile club, has tried to contact him several times, we're just trying to get a number. The state's willing to help kick in money to buy the land, he just won't give us a number, so we're having a very difficult
Do
time.
you have a number?
How much money?
Yeah.
I think they I wanted to say the snowmobile club wanted to offer 20,000. So, if we could, I mean, if you know how to get a hold of them to buy it, that'd be even better.
Alright, well, I'd like to talk to, I mean, I'd be for it myself because it can be taken back.
Yeah,
And I think maybe the noise situation might lessen if they're not in a rush to get where they're going.
yeah, absolutely.
But I would like to talk to the gentleman in Maine and for the state,
Yeah,
just to find out our authority on it.
Yeah.
And explain the statute,
yeah,
if it needs to go to the people for a vote or not, and how we're set up. And then, I'll bring it up again next meeting, let everyone know that I hear and make a motion if he says and explains that we can do it and he works for the state.
yeah,
I'd be willing to take that and see where everyone else stands on it.
okay, that'd be great.
Alright.
Do you want my road too? If it'll slow them down on my road, I'd be really happy. I'm telling you.
It does, it really does, I mean,
They fly on my road.
if you talk to anybody that's on the rail trail, walking the rail trail in Sanford, I haven't met anyone yet that hasn't been super happy with what the ATV club does.
Oh, I see it on the guys that are trying to over by the dam and they're trying to get from one part of the road to the trail and they gotta use the road, they hammer down the road because they don't wanna be, the guys in the motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they hammer down the road because they don't wanna be seen by the police.
Yeah.
So they don't.
Yeah,
No,
they just wanna get to the trail and get back in the woods.
Yeah, they're not taking their time.
And so that's what having an access route, it really does help. And I know, what the heck was the older guy's name that lives on Upper Mill, he used to be the president of the club?
Roger?
Roger, yes. He'll come out and yell at you if you go past the 25 on the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool. They're like riders.
Awesome.
But yeah, cool.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I just text that to you later or something?
Yeah.
Information, all right, I'll get you Brian's information and
Absolutely.
he'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Great, thank you very much.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for your time.
Anybody else for public participation?
This is.
Review of minutes.
right, I make a motion to accept the minutes of Thursday, February 20th as written.
Second.
All in favor?
What's that?
Parking lot stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's just odd for Harvey, because Harvey's pretty decent, so he's been like decent there for
Maybe you
years.
should talk to him.
I could.
Okay.
Harvey's a good guy, I'm friends with him.
Did they do this now?
Well,
It's
he's still
behind
there.
the trailer park.
Yeah, it's behind the trailer park.
It goes down, I don't know, there's Rose Lane and then,
Well,
I gotta say,
and then
Sky's land, is it, or is it on the very
we
straight edge of it?
so much.
the edge of it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he is,
In
he,
the edge
a
of
lot
it.
of people, that's what
I mean, like right here, on this spot here, and you can, cause I used to walk this trail, and you'd go down here and walk, we'd walk down with the dog and stuff. the
So I
trail.
haven't done something that makes
Oh, no, I'm not. But right there, you can actually see the trail.
One or two people that are on, who's not posted, I can do what I want. I can fix that real quick, I gotta say.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I said, for Harvey to have done that, somebody had done something really bothersome.
I,
Very, that was very
Jane.
private property.
oh,
Nice. Thank you, Laura. AP one, right? AP warrant this week was $31,478.35.
31,478.35, Deb.
thank you.
That's all.
This is at the end, yes, they have it.
You know what I'm signing right now, Deb?
What are you signing right now?
A request for time off.
Awesome, thank you for not keeping that a secret.
Another one?
You know what I'm signing right now, Deb?
What are you signing?
Absolutely nothing, because it's a secret. But I don't need to help with you instead of
Right, yeah,
being-
you're signing, yeah, we're trying to sign.
I don't need you to spill that secret for me.
Yes.
Should we make a motion on this one? Or just?
What?
Should we make a motion on that one, or just leave it?
Thank you.
Well, I guess we probably should.
I'll make this one. I'm gonna make a motion that we grant Human Resources Director Stacy Gillespie an extra week of vacation. She'll now receive 3 weeks vacation instead of 2 weeks each year.
I'll second
Discussion,
What is that?
all in favor?
Let's see.
I look for him earlier.
Yeah, Deb, I'm gonna plug a couple things tonight, I think.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Exciting, Justin.
That's exciting. Thrilling. I'm so thrilled.
Good job.
No, it's actually, it's a good thing. I'm just gonna need to have you use your LNTS site to get the word spread out, I know.
Yeah, it's all fun and games when you need me, huh?
Hey, listen,
I'm just saying.
listen, I can put it out anyway, you know, I just figured, you know, you're that person that likes the community stuff, and
Yeah.
this is a big
What are you
deal.
doing, Justin?
I'm just gonna, one thing about doing is, because I was talking about Babe Ruth, and I got, you know, I'm gonna probably do the sign-ups with the, Range meet on the 6th. Just to get some people in there, yeah. And I talked to Chris Stokes today, and he's talking about possibly, fixing the dugout too.
Oh, so now, after I'm working on it now for a year.
Oh, I don't know, is that the
Now
guy?
somebody else is gonna
Is
do
that the
it?
guy? He called me?
No.
No, he was the Babe Ruth guy. Oh, okay, no, so who you got, and then the other guy called me.
Yes, Drew.
Yeah, he's gonna be sending me the schedule.
Yeah, he's a good guy, he has the advanced Christian baseball or softball?
Softball, he said.
Softball, yeah, but they were a nice group of guys, they had their equipment stolen out there last year.
Did they really?
And then we had a Lebanon resident wanting to know, he has Batman, who replaced him.
I know that guy.
No,
Hey, have you met everybody here?
I know Batman.
You don't know my Batman.
No, I don't know your Batman, but I know Batman.
David.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
So, I make a motion that we appoint David Salvatore as code enforcement officer for the town of Lebanon.
Second.
All in favor? All right. We gotta sign this first.
Applying to code.
He's cruising. By the way, I appreciate
He's gonna be the mayor next week.
That's pretty awesome.
Here, you,
Right, the mayor next week?
code enforcement training certificate for 3 hours of, code enforcement training for shoreline zoning and land use over in Wells. Did you learn anything there?
Yes, overwhelming.
Exactly.
You get the gist and you get to sit back and spend an hour reading it.
Stuff come up today that I knew just yesterday, so.
Doesn't take long.
There you go.
You ready?
I, David Salvatore, do swear
I, David Salvatore, do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
as long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
I do swear that I will faithfully discharge
I do swear that I will faithfully discharge
all the duties of my office
all the duties of my office
as a code enforcement officer
as a code enforcement officer
of the town of Lebanon,
of the town of Lebanon,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of the state.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you very much.
I get to come over, so I still can't believe how quick you made that, man, that is pretty awesome, appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You don't have to. Yeah, we tell that to everybody.
Ready, James?
You wanna do this?
What's your old name?
Yep, next one.
I'm ready.
Okay. So everybody should have a package.
Oh, yeah, we had one.
I'll make you a package later. The first page, I broke down into 2 sections. One are adult use questions that are follow-on from last week. The second half is items I'd like to put on the agenda for next week. We're ready to have our first round of discussing the medical caregiver draft ordinance. So, at the meeting Tuesday, there was a fairly strong reaction to the budget schedule that we had discussed last year.
By how many people?
Last week, the fee schedule. 2 members, 3 non-members. And I basically told them that
Were any of these people interested in purchasing or getting licenses when it became available?
depends on what the costs are.
No, but the people that were complaining about the fees.
Yeah, they're interested in getting licenses.
Okay.
The non-members definitely, the members, actually members that were upset were as well.
Okay. All the people there that were complaining about the fees are interested in buying the fee, buying a license.
Correct. The gist of the complaints were they felt that the proposed fees are too high for 2 main reasons. One being that they are out of line with other communities, which we discussed briefly last week. And the other being that there's some concern that this would price out pretty much anybody in Lebanon who is a Lebanon resident, which we're requiring for licenses. So the concern was that this is basically gonna force anybody who wants to operate a marijuana business to be an outsider who comes into Lebanon or who sets up a shelf. So I told everybody that I would bring that back as discussion points.
I'll tell you my thoughts on it. One, I think that multiple purchases, there should be some sort of discount. That would keep it from being spread out. If someone owned multiple licenses. Two, like I said, is 3 people that are qualified to buy a license first day for a retail store have already mentioned to me that they would come down and red check the town hall if it got down to the top of the list. So, as for their feeling that other towns don't charge as much, then they should, other towns are different than Lebanon. Portland has a much bigger infrastructure. I think these fees could go towards things. I mean, if we have a 20,000 foot grow in Lebanon with lights and everything else, it's definitely going to be a higher fire risk than anything. So my thought process is these fees could be, and we could do it somehow in the referendum ordinance to get the town a fire truck that would be capable of handling this, especially if the report comes back that our trucks aren't in the greatest shape.
Just my understanding, and I haven't delved into this in depth, my understanding of the way fees are supposed to be assigned, and this is from a single reading of the state ordinance once.
Yeah.
This is a very, very ill-informed opinion at this point. Is that fees have to be directly related. Yeah, they gotta be directly proportional to the administration of the program.
And
so
a fire truck needing to, a 20,000 foot grow with the type of lights that people are gonna be using and the fire hazard there, and if it goes up, it's gonna go up fast. We need to be able to respond, and our trucks, the first truck on the scene that would respond only has a 750 gallon tank. So I think it would be in direct proportion to what I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying,
I have no skin in this game.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you're bringing up their objections, and I'm
communicating.
Yeah, and I'm letting you know. Also, it's gonna require training and situations, more code hours, more work from the code office. Possibly some sort of response for alarms, possibly it could be used to fund overnight coverage, so we could get a truck there at one of these places immediately.
Well, that's where it is, for that particular, little laugh, but it's true.
Well, I think there are a lot of costs that this town is not equipped to handle if these places open. And to simply charge someone, I mean, if you break down the numbers and the profit that these people are gonna make, these fees they may be out of line with other towns, but they're not out of line with the profits and what people are gonna make. I think if you put this out there right now.
Profits are irrelevant to fees.
I understand that, but
that's not part of what we're asking.
No, I understand that, but to say that people won't pay these, and if people they won't pay these, people will pay these fees. And it won't be an issue for people that want to do this. The issue will be for the town to support enforcement. And what would this person opens a store, and the 5 people, let's say we do 5, they open a store. Somebody else opens a store right down the road. Our budget for our law firm, our lawyers right now is $40,000. In fairness to them, they're gonna expect us, hey, I paid $10,000 for this permit, this guy's operating without one. We could need up to $500,000 to go to court to shut the people that are rogue down.
Yeah.
So we don't have that in the budget. So that would be another thing that I think in the referendum, that the money would go, some of the money would go into a legal fee to cover our costs to combat people that aren't following the rules. If somebody's not following the rules and we try and pull their permit and they want to take us to court, it's going to cost more than $50,000 to fight that person in court. So I think if we're going to do it, it has to be to a point where it's not a drain on the citizens of the town and the taxpayers. And it could very well turn out that we have to shut 2 stores down, and that's $400,000 in legal fees. Who's gonna pay that? The taxpayer? So, that's my argument. I don't know if anybody else has one about the fees. I don't think the fees should change except for a discount.
If our referendums do not pass, I went to the, update for the state, program today, and they're working, although they're getting a little bit of feedback, kickback or whatever you wanna call it, resistance to they're setting up their own, enforcement to the DEA.
Well, I mean, if that works, that's great, but the problem is right now, the state tells us we gotta do the enforcement.
Oh, yeah, no, time out, DEA is federal. What was it?
Well, that's why state.
Maybe,
Oh.
that's just what they're trying to
Oh,
do
okay.
at a state level right now.
Handle the civil aspects of it, instead of their own.
No way,
That's a huge divergence from their mission.
no way.
What they were saying today.
My thought is with these fees and with an actual breakdown of where the money will go, and of course we present it to the lawyer.
Yeah.
I think if it was something where we could get a new state-of-the-art fire truck that would be capable of putting out a fire and it would go up quickly, and I mean, let's face it, greenhouse with all those lights would go up at the drop of a hat. So if we could present it where it was beneficial to the town, beneficial to the people that are opening, and everything falls in line and the fees are used for administering this program, I think it would be a win for everybody.
We have to keep that smoke out of the air too.
Yeah.
Just saying, I don't want it.
So that's my thought on the fees. Is anybody else?
I don't think the fees are too bad. I'm just gonna leave it there.
I did ask the lawyer today, and they said that we definitely would need to justify any of these fees, otherwise it would be considered a tax.
Yep, and I spoke to our
And we
lawyer,
can't
she
put
said she would,
taxes in.
I spoke to our lawyer and she said she would help us draft it and explain what the fees were going to cover.
Would that be a yearly fee, charge $400,000?
There
Well,
are 2 fees, there's a
yeah.
one-time fee,
Here, you can have this copy.
and then
Which is the one-time?
Here, you can have this.
Thank you, I asked for it, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, I didn't have extra copies, so. Alright, if the board is in agreement on that, then,
I think there should be a discounted multiple.
alright, well, that's something I think that's gonna help alleviate some of the people's concerns, because, you know, in at least one situation, a person said that they were okay with this fee schedule and they thought that all they needed was a retail store fee, but when they went and they looked and they said, oh, well, to do everything I now need these 4 licenses, and it went from 50 to 200,000. So that was.
Do you know how much marijuana you can grow in a 20,000 foot canopy?
I
Marijuana.
haven't said a whole lot about this, but I think these marijuana businesses ought to be bonded too. Because what if they leave, who's gonna clean up their hazardous material?
Well, most of them won't actually have hazardous material. It's
Well, they'll be inspected monthly and the doors have to be.
annual and potentially monthly,
I'm
depending
just
on
saying,
the
that's, they
specs
should be
once.
bonded, I think the fields should be bonded, I mean, just, you got
Fields
potential
is
hazards,
different.
I'm just saying, there's potential hazards for each. They should be bonded, somebody's gonna pay for it, the taxpayers should, and the town shouldn't pay for multi-businesses, multi-million-dollar
If you want me
businesses.
to, we can work on language to include bonding, but that's.
Well, that's what
I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that with the fees where they are, there would be enough there for coverage.
I'm just saying, I mean, cause that's something you gotta consider.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, that would be a separate maybe place. There'd be different things where the money would go. One would be for lawsuits, one would be for cleanup if they decided to abandon, so that was, yeah.
Right. Alright, so on the fee schedule, can we add to next week's agenda discussing how we would want to structure a discount for multiple licenses?
Yeah, I mean,
Because I haven't really had a chance
I would
to
think that
look at how that would
the
work.
most expensive one would be full price. And then, I don't know, 10% off the next most expensive, 15% off the next, and that would be the 15% down the line, would be my thought.
Is everybody good with that, or do you want time to think?
Yeah, take a look at whatever you come up with, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you start with that one,
Alright,
we can talk
so
about
say that again, I'll write it down so we can.
full price for the most expensive, right? And then 10% off the next, and then 15% off any other one.
Yeah, that worry about the cost of getting in business. Just based on what the national averages are, the money's there.
Oh, the money's there,
It's hugely there.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I wanna actually skip number 2 for a minute. And, number 3 is a real quick one. It was brought up, in Tuesday's meeting that we don't have any age requirements in any of our licensing at this point. The state requires all licensees to be 21.
Yep.
Do we wanna put it in our ordinances in case they change them?
I think it should state whatever the state says.
Okay, so that'll be an easy one, I can just add a one-liner into all the ordinances. Number 4, we had spoken last time about ways to, depersonalize the lottery system.
I think that should be it.
And Chuck had recommended doing something with Powerball, so I just sat down and did some brainstorming. And the model that I came up with puts all of the choice in the hands of the applicant. The way it works is when someone applies for a license, they pick 2 numbers between 1 and 69, because 1 and 69 are possible Powerball numbers. They assign one.
The Powerball number or the Powerball
The
number?
whole lottery, all 6 of them.
Okay.
They assign one of them to be the primary number and one to be the secondary. If we get into a lottery situation, and of course, for any given license type, once someone takes a license on their application, no one else can take that license in that number in that cycle. So the numbers are all unique. If we get into a lottery situation, we have to do the notification of when the lottery is gonna be and all that stuff, so there'd be notification, and then currently the way I have it drafted is that the lottery happens at the same time as the Powerball. That might not be good because that's Wednesdays and Saturdays. But for a start, I needed to put something in so we knew which lottery it was that you were using.
Maybe the Saturday after, because the town hall's not open on Saturday, the Saturday after.
The Saturday after notification?
After they fill out their application. So if the deadline's Wednesday, or they come in, whatever it is, and so it's 3 people have to come in on the same day.
Let's do a worst case, they come in on Friday.
Yep.
So Friday night determine there's a lottery, we have to notify them that there's gonna be a lottery. So we go the next Saturday.
Yeah.
So 7 days after notification.
Yep, makes sense.
Alright.
But how does it work now? So they pick one number and then a primary?
They pick two numbers, one's primary, one's secondary. The first ball that's drawn, whoever's closest to that number gets the first license.
What if
there's a tie?
Whoever's the lower number?
No. If there's a tie, you go to the secondary number. Whoever's closest on the secondary number gets it.
And what if there's a tie there?
You can't have a 3-way tie that way.
Yeah, you could.
The lottery drawing is number 20, the lottery drawing is
Right, so
number
if someone has 19 and someone has 21, their secondary number is 18 and 22. That's a tie.
You're right.
So it would have to be the lower.
He's went on to a whole other level.
You can't mess with him on numbers ever.
No, that's good, because
He just said.
statistically unlikely, but possible. Okay, so instead of doing that,
So I think, if it does that, it should go to the next Wednesday.
well, no, because if the same thing happens, they're gonna be the same distance apart.
That would have,
Same number comes up.
someone's gonna win the Powerball that has those numbers before that's gonna happen.
Or do we just go with the lower one wins?
Yeah.
Alright.
Price is right without going over.
Yeah. So you know what?
If you wanna do that with the 1 through 69, you wanna do it with the Powerball number, so the. Oh, yeah, the 1 through 69 would be, well, no, yeah, you're right, that
So
makes sense,
there's
big spread.
There's 6 that get drawn.
Yeah, the 6th one is only up to 18.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know anything about it. Alright, so that's an easier resolution to the ties. And then that basically repeats until you run out of licenses. So the only point where this wouldn't work is if we had more licenses available than there are Powerball numbers.
Which is impossible.
Which is a great segue into our next conversation. How many licenses do we want to assign? allow.
They already said my piece on that one.
So based on the conversation we had last week, we were going to potentially assign numbers of licenses without discriminating between whether it was a medical or an adult use license. So for example, in the case of retail stores, we wouldn't say we're going to do X medical retail stores and Y adult use stores. We would do a number and however they get used up, they get used up. So the question is, how many licenses do we want for each type of business?
Let me ask you a question. If you have a retail store that's adult use, can you sell medical marijuana there?
If you have medical,
They're looking
actually-
into it, it hasn't been passed yet.
yeah, as of now, you can't. They need to be separate. Now, separate could be a wall with a door in it. They don't need to be separate buildings right now. They need to be separate spaces. As of, I wasn't at this morning's briefing, but as of the last briefing, that's how it stood.
I think it should be, it doesn't matter which one they choose. And they can change it.
Well, they're different types of business and they have different regulation.
They're regulated differently.
Ordinances.
Right, but they can still choose if we do, however they get used up, they get used up.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing. There's a certain number of licenses and
Yeah.
first one's a medical one, it's medical.
But if
the second
someone
one's-
decides, I think if someone buys one and they decide halfway through they want to change, I don't think there should be much of a fee if they want to change to be authorized by the town. So say somebody does a medical one and they want to change it to an
I'm
adult.
not sure you're gonna have very good luck with that,
Why?
passing that way, just because the people of this town just, I think the medical would have a better chance of passing. And then if you had retail or adult use separately,
Well,
it's gonna be a wild card.
they are separate, they're separate ordinances.
I know, but I think the total of the
The
stores,
potential there would be,
If one,
if we're gonna say we
five medical
have
stores.
6 licenses, if both pass, we end up with a mix of licenses. If only
One
medical
passes,
passes, we have 6 medical retail stores, or the potential for 6 medical retail stores.
what if you end up getting 6 people that wanna do retail and you have no medical?
Well, if they're the first ones in, they're the ones that get them.
Yeah, and there's a clause in there that the people that are operating, they're all operating medical stores.
Right, so that's part of next week's discussion with medical stuff, but there is a 2-layer existing clause. The first one is if a existing business ends up being grandfathered, they would be a priority for getting a license. Any business that was operating legally, as of January 1st of this year, is the current draft, would then have priority equivalent to the grandfathered ones. That way, the existing businesses don't risk losing their status if they don't get a license. And there's a 2-week period prior to open licensing for those businesses to get their applications in. And the current language of the ordinance states very specifically, if they don't get their application in those 2 weeks, that's on them, they've lost their option to exercise priority option.
So if with the number of permits out there now, what's the total for first year fees?
I didn't bring that sheet with me, hang on.
200,000. One-time fees.
1.35.
Yeah, it'd be
No, it's one time.
300,000 one-time fees.
No, that's not right.
Yeah, it's $50, 50,000 each.
No, all of them,
Oh, combined.
Everything combined?
like 1.35 million.
It was a lot. Let me see if I have that one there. It's full spreadsheet here that has it.
Because we
Yeah, I
definitely
don't
need
think the
a fire
regular
station.
stores should be so much.
No, there's no more there, just saying.
we need to make sure the town has the
Revenues.
the revenue to put the infrastructure in place to support
To
this.
support the business, right? Yep. At the time, back in my military days,
Cause you're not putting a ladder truck in that station.
you know, the doors need to be bigger. At the time of my military days,
It was like 100 years ago,
It
wasn't
was a long time ago, but we had to burn a huge load right on a tarmac, because we had nowhere else to burn it. Then it stunk. And we need the infrastructure to put that out stuff quick, because it does stink.
It does.
Can I see a sheet from that?
Alright, I don't have it, but I can run it out real quick.
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
I'm on it. We have a number like that. I too will make check.
That'd be 300.
You said the numbers in yet, just numbers in master.
What would be the budget?
They're the most important person in Southern New Hampshire. They do what everybody says?
Yes, or
You know what, those, I could be.
1.2, over 1.2 million.
Okay.
So, I mean, and the fire trucks cover that would be, I mean,
$500,000,
half
for
a
the fire
million.
truck.
Yep.
Yep, that's what they said.
So I think that we need several $100,000 in, for lawyers, money set aside for cleanup, money to add to the code budget, because they're gonna be doing multiple inspections, and possibly work, several other things for the fire department to make sure that the surrounding places are safe if one of these goes up, so.
And I don't think any real business would have an issue with making sure the fire department's well served and protected, taking
No.
care of their businesses as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a mutual agreement,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think the people that are opening these would be a lot more, they'd be more accepted by the town if it was a contribution of that sort of thing, and it made the whole town safer. So, I think it would bring something positive to what a lot of people might see as negative.
But how many of the different licenses do we wanna have? You've drifted back to the fees.
Yeah,
I think we
no,
started with
yeah.
fees.
I don't know, that's the numbers we came up with when we set the fees.
So let me just run through them and make sure everybody's, so the current model that we had come up with was for retail stores, a total of 6 licenses. For testing facilities, a total of 2. For tier 1 cultivation, 3 licenses. For tier 2, 3 licenses. For tier 3, 2 licenses. For tier 4, 1 license. We put no restrictions on people who want to purchase, if you get over 20,000 square feet, an additional 10,000 square feet of canopy is 50,000, and we didn't cap that. So that could go indefinitely. That should be cultivation, not just.
So with the testing facilities, right, now, I just saw a report, talked to somebody, there's one right now.
Well, the state is thinking about taking that over, so that may end up being moved.
Right, that's what I was getting at.
You can't test down there.
Well, the reason about the testing is because right now, they
You can't
can't
test
even
and grow.
have retail medical without it being tested, and there are no testing facilities at all in the state.
Well, you can't be, there are testing facilities, there's one.
Yeah, I got it on
They're
one.
not approved yet, yeah, Kennebunk hasn't even,
If I could just interject.
Yeah, sure.
I'm the selectman in Kennebunk.
Okay,
I will tell you that Nelson Labs.
yeah, and Kennebunk is the other
Kennebunk
one,
is
yeah.
the only testing lab in the state, and they're testing medical marijuana, and our ordinance says they can test for medical. We are having an election in April, which will then grant them the ability to test.
And they don't do any growing or anything like that, because you can't be a testing facility and grow.
Yeah,
That's right, that's right, it's just a testing facility. That's right now the only one in the state, and the state is looking maybe to find others, but that's gonna take, this is very sophisticated.
but I mean, but you haven't even passed your ordinance to allow them to do retail yet.
Or no, we
Right,
adopted,
that's gonna be in April.
our ordinance says no retail marijuana in our town.
So, and if it does pass, we will have a testing facility that can do retail. But that's one of the things they said is, holding up the whole program right now, is they have no testing facilities for retail marijuana in the state of Maine yet.
Yes,
So I have a question about, actually probably about the same place that you're talking about, testing place. And my concern is the new grow that is actually put there is so close to the back end of residential mobile home trailers, and, you know, I mean, you wanna talk about fires, if that place went up, all those people with propane tanks are in danger.
There are setbacks.
Well, there's no setbacks on that one, I'll tell you, I don't know how it was ever
There's no
permitted,
ordinance yet.
it was permitted.
There's no requirement for setbacks right now.
Well, there has to be at least a 25-foot,
Well, yeah, there's a property boundary that's a normal one.
so
But there are setbacks in these ordinance.
there are, but that
It's
one
not
would,
for, it's,
that one would be basically grandfathered because it's been there since before January, correct?
not the
Because, I mean, you
way,
got
not the way the
people-
ordinance is currently written. The way the ordinance is currently written, if it passes, even an existing business would have to be in compliance with
We have to move it
regulations.
back, and what is it, 1,000 feet?
It's 1,000 feet for a school.
So what is it for a resident?
I thought we were changing that to 2,000.
2,000 feet. you're
That's
right.
what we talked 2,000
For a
feet,
school, but
yeah,
what is
probably
it for a residential mobile?
3 miles maybe.
With multiple families.
There's no setback for residentials.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that that's an error, I mean, there's multiple families.
We can put it in there.
And there, I mean, really, could you think of that? I mean, there's probably 3, 4, 5,
Hasn't been,
6.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but there hasn't been one call.
There hasn't been a fire there yet.
I get that, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, all of their propane, there's 7 families there and all
Are you
of their children.
talking the one on 202?
Right across from my road, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
No, it should be
It's too
setbacks.
close.
Yeah, I
Do
get
we
it.
want to add a residential setback?
Yeah.
Or,
I think
what do we want
we
that to
should
be?
And you got 7 families.
I got it, I got 7 families.
Well, but you never let me get the rest of it out of my mouth.
I did, you said some family 6 times. We'll just skip the good of the town.
What do we want the residential setback to be?
Vengeance. What is it from
Normal residential setback.
Norm for,
25 feet?
25 feet from the boundary, yeah. That's your normal
so
household.
that's for any structure, that's
Right,
building code.
We're gonna have a little bit of a problem for certain places because of, if we keep it on 202 to make it too large.
Yeah.
500 feet?
Wow, I think that's too big.
yeah, it is too big,
I
it's
would-
most of the lots.
Yeah, and nobody, it would be, I'd say like 75 feet.
From the property edge?
That's my, I don't know.
Or do you just want to say all marijuana structures need to be 75 feet from the property edge in general?
2,000 feet.
Maybe
So I-
2,000 feet from
I
the
mean,
edge.
if they were in Jeremy,
That's for the planning board.
if they weren't that close,
No, I get you.
and they.
I wouldn't say property edge, I'd say from.
Yeah, they could always come for a variance to that as
From
well.
structure, from
Alright, structural
20,
setback
yeah, structural setback.
from,
We're gonna run this for legal property, do all.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she said she'd go over everything, yeah.
75 feet. Okay, so
What?
there's obviously,
Yeah,
And this is getting, stepping into lot size ordinances and other stuff that you might be making a conflict here.
okay.
I'm not saying there is,
No,
I'm just saying
I'd
there's
like to,
potential.
yeah, no,
yeah,
that's,
so
that's.
what I'll do is I'll
Here.
specify that any business that contains, or any structure that contains marijuana business. Now, if that eliminates the double jeopardy of a structure, because it's only these structures. Hopefully that'll work.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I just, just wanna make sure that it does fall.
Yeah,
And
I just have one more question. The other question that comes to mind, that you might wanna ask the attorney too, because we discussed it long ago, when we did the first ordinances, is it a legal question, a legal problem that we have no business licensing in Lebanon, but is it discriminatory to now require licensing of marijuana facilities? Because there's anybody who wants to go
because the
into
state has
business
specifically given us the authority to do
to
this.
do just marijuana licenses, but do they know that you have no business licensing
They
requirements?
don't, it's probably worth checking, but.
Yeah, big question,
It's just-
absolutely.
we talked about it before with the town attorney when we were doing the
She said
ordinances
she's
before.
working with other towns on
It was a
ordinances right
different
now.
town, it was a different.
And she'd be happy to, she offered to write the ordinance, but I thought cost wise and what we have in place, that,
You've been doing a fine job.
yeah.
This is
You and your crew.
This has been challenging.
Alright,
Alright, so, manufacturing facilities, we only have a single license for that. Right now, I suspect we have more than one manufacturing facility already, so that might be problematic.
No, where's the, where,
Isn't Harvest Gods doing manufacturing as well?
I don't know, Korean, are they?
I don't know,
Product?
Why don't you know?
because I've never even set my foot in that place.
I know Alan is,
Yeah,
I thought Harvest was.
No,
No,
not to
okay,
my knowledge.
But they know she's purchasing her own.
okay. And then the last category is a caregiver, and we don't put any restriction on caregivers. Or on number of caregivers.
We can't, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The only restriction that we really have on caregivers is they have to be Lebanon resident. We have some structural signage requirements, stuff like that, we'll go over that next week.
All right, well.
You know what else they said in that meeting is, there isn't a huge rush of people coming for businesses in this, that why do you set a minimum number of licenses, and then you don't have to worry about the Powerball and all that being sued?
So what if all of a sudden we have 15 people that wanna open up marijuana stores on Tuesday?
There would be an application fee where they would have, you know,
I
a
think we need,
business plan.
I think we need to cap it myself. It's,
I was just throwing it out there.
and it'll drive down the value of the, to people for the licenses. So, you know, I think it needs to be capped, for sure.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a rush.
underlying.
I've had several
On
calls.
the basis of our
Several.
ordinance from day one, if people wanna change that, we can, but
I just thought it was an interesting thing that they mentioned.
Well, I mean, if nobody takes them, that's fine.
Yeah, and then we don't need the large amount of money to do the,
Oversight.
yeah.
You don't want to, cap the, tier 4.
Tier 4 is capped at one license, the additional 10,000 feet.
Oh, so you say, so it wasn't, so someone doesn't have 200,000 square foot? Yeah, I think it should be capped.
So how many, what's the maximum size you wanna allow?
I think one additional.
You brought it up when you were originally talking, and just kind of
Yeah.
rolling around the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, no, that's,
Somebody has 5
that's
football
part
fields.
of why
You just don't know.
No, I agree, and they're selling space in there cheaper than you can come to the town and.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Call.
You know,
Maybe you should do the two manufacturers.
okay.
We think there should be 2 manufacturers?
Well, I honestly believe that should be an opportunity for caregivers that are doing it right and not having already set up a store to set something up.
Well, ask them to change it to 2 then.
Well, caregiver stores,
Not the caregivers.
Well, manufacturers.
Manufacturers.
alright, we can change it, I mean, do you wanna make it 2?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Is everybody else okay with that?
Yeah.
I mean, those are kind of, I think that would be involved in someone who already has a storefront or something like that, so I don't think we can change the number of.
Just for clarification on my part, the only thing that's restricted to 202 is the stores.
Anything that's open to the public is how I worded it. That way,
So you have to explain to me which one of these,
so a retail store is open to the public.
yeah.
Manufacturing.
Well, manufacturing may not be open to the public.
Yeah, it is. It would be. Someone wants to go there and get something
If they're
manufactured,
doing wholesale as a factory, they're not open to the public.
but if someone's going there and dropping off marijuana, anybody can get something manufactured there. Right now, these manufacturing places, anybody can take marijuana there and get it manufactured, get it turned into whatever they want.
Okay, so we're gonna need to, let's have a discussion of.
I think a manufacturing place should be on
Alright,
202.
so, let's run down the list. Retail stores are restricted to 202. Manufacturing facilities are restricted to 202. Testing,
I think testing 202, yep, because if we have it and it ends up getting approved by the state, people are gonna be rolling in there all the time.
any of the cultivation,
I don't think that matters.
okay? And then caregivers obviously are not restricted. So there's one other category that we'll be discussing next week, which is a medical caregiver store. And it's a special category because of the way the ordinances are written, state ordinances for medical caregivers. We cannot limit the number of caregivers we can limit the number of medical caregiver stores.
That's what this is right up here, you're saying.
What, a retail store?
Retail store.
No, medical caregiver store, so here's the difference. A retail store, you don't need an appointment, the doors are open, anybody can walk in. Anybody over
Medical
21.
caregiver stores, you have a sign in front that says appointment only.
A medical, you don't have to have a sign, but it operates by appointment only. The medical caregiver store, a medical caregiver can do their transactions at their home or at their patient's home. That's it. If a medical caregiver sets up another location somewhere,
Separate from residents.
that becomes a medical caregiver store.
Okay.
So it's not a retail store because you need an appointment. We also have some more restricted signage things and things like that. Do we want to restrict the medical caregiver stores?
Yes.
To Route 202? And how many, well, we can discuss the fee and we can discuss that next week.
neighborhood pot store?
Bigelow Road and 202.
I already have the Whitney Road.
Alright. The other things that you have in your package, you have the current draft of adult use, which other than the changes we discussed today for the lottery, should be basically down to the last bit. I'll go through, I'll do a spell check, I'll do a numbering check on it.
And the fees, where are they gonna be?
The fees will be in there, there should be a table in here.
Okay, so that's in
On
there.
page 9, and the TBDs will be, actually it's in here now.
So I think
it's
we're gonna
not
need to add where the money's going.
Well, let's, for caregiver stores, what do you want the one-time fee for them to be?
Why don't we continue this next week and you can come up with what you think and what you might think. I think it should be fairly inexpensive.
Alright, so we'll need to come up with a one-time fee, the annual fee, and the number of licenses for that next week.
I think we should have restrictions on there and no signage.
We'll do an overall medical caregiver ordinance.
Yeah.
And you have a draft of medical caregiver ordinance as well. So you've got the questions, the drafts.
You can have this back, you also.
So you can have that back, thank you. And we'll do this again next week.
Thank you. Professor, once again, you did a knockout job, thanks,
Thanks for all the hard work, James.
Yeah, very well. Thank God, I couldn't do it. Well, I'll call you tonight or tomorrow, but what I did, will help you out with what you do as well. That's awesome. We'll talk to you afterwards. I don't think we'll have too much stuff. Oh, we do, yeah, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give you a call, alright, brother?
Alright, old business. Forest View Cemetery.
When you come back from being reported.
List of properties with structures. Insurance info, Karina.
That's how I did it on over with, the insurance company.
So that should be crossed off.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be on there.
Okay, you never said that, that's all. East Lebanon Fire Department transfer? Still waiting on that one, Paul?
Yes, he's got in contact with the corporation and is tracking down the lady that's over.
Okay. Compost at transfer station, Karina?
Spring.
Oh. Take that one. Not mentioned in the spring. I haven't done anything with the LED light project with everything else going on for me. Emergency shelter, I'm sure we're,
Oh, I got drafted the whole entire plan for the town.
alright. Parking for the snowmobile club, Karina and Jeff.
I need to stay on there, or is it?
We need to get together,
The draft.
It's not done.
Alright, so,
and we need to get together on that parking lot.
we do? For
Yeah.
what?
Cause it's part of that other plan on the Shockley Trust.
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Last week, Chip, remember? I
Oh, that's
contacted
a
Chip.
veterans park, got nothing to do with it.
It's a parking lot.
Oh, it's part of it,
It's
yeah,
gonna be the
okay.
parking lot.
Alright, that's fine,
That's the only part
that's
I'm
way down the road,
interested in.
I'm not even thinking of that right now, but we'll keep that as old business then.
Yeah, but the snowmobile club wants to be in.
Well, I reached out to them, I haven't heard back from any of them, so, since they first came in here, so.
Okay, well, we can get together on that parking lot, anyway.
Field board training scheduled for the second Monday in May. Recycling, again, I've been busy with other things going on. Transfer sign,
I thought Jeff was talking to somebody.
no, that's where, we've gotta do the setup, but that's.
Oh, no,
on the-
yeah, it was talking,
Yeah, we can,
yeah,
that's for the supplies for doing cans and stuff like that.
yeah, we're gonna, blue bucket, food grade, whatever, we gotta get
But I
that
thought he
done.
had someone, he was looking at someone that's gonna do it since the other guy.
Well, I talked to him, he's on until the 31st of March,
Oh,
so that's gonna give us some time on this,
who is?
the guy who's doing it now,
Oh, he's doing it now.
till the 31st.
So do you just want to take a quote from that other guy that I talked about?
I thought you were doing that anyway.
Well, what I said is I could, but I was.
I said, go ahead, I want
Well, you said to wait.
No, I didn't say that.
I thought that.
No, I said, go ahead.
Doing it.
That's fine. I'll make a phone call.
Commercial haulers, Karina?
Well, pretty much done that application, aren't we?
There you go, get rid of that.
No, but I mean, we should
That's
probably,
everybody for.
everyone needs to come look at it,
Keep
review it.
it.
Alright, well, maybe you can email that to everyone, we can go over that next week.
Yeah.
Alright. Purchasing policy, we're waiting, because everything going on. Repairs at transfer station, they should be done tomorrow, pending if Waste Management gets out there early enough to move that container. They couldn't come out today, and they couldn't guarantee me a time in the morning. She put a request in for it. But Perot Welding's ready to take care of that.
You skip this sign.
I was gonna get back to that, how I skipped the thing, he was
I'm waiting here, he has.
Took my thunder.
He has everything, and I'm just waiting to hear from him. So that should be done in days. And then, O'Donnell and Associates, I already spoke to him, so that's all set.
They can come off?
Yes.
That should be good, right? Alright. So I got 3 things to main out, 4 things. Alright, well, one of them's already done, so 3 things. 2 of them were chuckles.
Alright, individual selection items,
Sure, I got one, I'll go last though.
Karina,
I don't have any right now.
Jeff? Oh, you wanna go last?
I go last, let everybody else speak, mine's irrelevant.
I guess the only thing I have is I just wanna remind everybody that tomorrow, February 28th, nomination papers are available. If you'd like to.
You sound awful cheery about that.
And we have a selectman seat, a 3-year term, a school board seat, 3-year term, and 3 budget committee members, 3-year terms. So there's, I just want to remind everyone, come see Mary Beth, get your nomination papers, you only need 25 signatures, and you can run for office.
Registered voters.
Of registered voters, yes, that's true.
You say run from office?
You could run.
No, run for office.
We have one for the budget committee.
Yeah, there you go.
You mean all
And the other thing I have is, what is wrong with me? I just wanted to, announce that one of our, seniors from Noble High School, Blake Willett, was chosen to play in the lobster bowl.
Or you gotta stop stealing my stuff before it gets to me, I gotta start going first.
Well, another fearless leader, you can go first.
The lobster bowl in July, he got selected to play, in the football game, the lobster bowl, so.
That's
Is that
the
Randy's kid?
all-stars, it's the all, yeah, it is Randy's son, it's the all-stars.
Yes, Randy was in it, 20-some years ago,
And that's the Florida Shriners.
I
yes.
know who they are, dude, Randy used to coach for me.
Yeah, so, yes, so that's, congratulations to Blake.
Looks like it all foolish fellows.
I think that was all I had. The only other thing I had is, on the comprehensive plan, can whoever did the front page, I don't know who did that, can they put the date that we're gonna vote on it?
Sure.
I don't know who did the page, but we just need the front page because, of how we have to.
Well, look, we have our chairman right there, we can have her handle that.
And then. You know, the webpage or on the plan itself?
The plan itself.
On the comprehensive plan.
Because when we vote on it-
vote on it.
Yeah, it has to, when we enact it, it has to have the date, dated June, whatever the date is, 9th, I guess, 2020 on the
That
front
doesn't
cover.
word it till we actually enact it, right?
But we have to vote on it, if you want the town to vote on it,
it has to go on, the June 9th date has to go on at that date that we're gonna vote on it?
Yes, on the front cover. On the front cover, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just so that's the name of the plan, I just,
Understood.
that's it. And then, I think that's all I had.
Paul?
Is there an executive session scheduled for personnel matters?
Yes.
I have applied for that. And we've been talking about the fire budget items we need to cover.
Tonight,
Yes.
at the executive session?
No, before.
Oh.
I got two bills here that we gotta discuss where the money's gonna come from, so we can address that.
I mean, we can do that, I figure then we can look and just figure out the uniforms and the helmets, what we're gonna do for next meeting. But yeah, we can discuss that one right now.
One of them is a $100 bill for the party house for Christmas tree burn. I'm not sure, was that fire department or was that corporate?
That was a corporation.
Okay, so we
That
gotta
It all gotta come out of,
That goes to them.
We'll pass that on.
I'm going to see her right now, you wanna take it?
Sure.
Good.
Done deal.
Is it to the town of Lebanon?
We're gonna make
it's,
it.
it's
Yeah.
actually told to the town.
Oh, it's billed to the town, yeah, so we'll make a copy and give you one.
Yeah.
And then the second one is for 6 radios being converted to have a second band added to them, and it comes to $31.50.
When did who did that one?
It happened on February, well, the billing is February 10th.
Was that the programming for the, yes, Deb?
So that was because we switched towers?
It says update 6 portable radios with a new feature string to add second band VHF.
But I don't think we were ever, I gotcha, yeah,
Go to the new one.
but I don't think we were ever told about that, were we?
There's no,
No PO.
yeah, no PO didn't do it,
And it's already,
The opening.
it's already done.
done.
That's it?
Yeah.
So,
Rarely he told you how much, because that shocks me.
Are these the new ones, the Harris XL?
Yes, those.
Maybe that was what they were gonna use that
Was that
donation
the
money for.
software upgrade that was buried with?
there's only a few dollars left in the
Yeah.
grant money for the, I think like $70 left. You told me.
I thought you said we needed to buy chargers and stuff like that for it,
Microphones and stuff.
but I didn't know we needed to do this. I don't remember if we were told.
No, it's charges, because they got the radios without charges, and
And
you need the
micro.
charges, and you need the other thing too. But there was no purchase order for it.
Well, I assume it's already done now, so we gotta pay it. I guess it's with equipment. Or what about the grant money, the
10,000.
No,
We figure it was 10,000.
yeah, there's 4,000 something left in it.
Right. Yeah, there's $4,109.
Yeah, I think it should come out of there.
Just bear that in mind when you do your other one that.
Yeah, well, that pretty much is gonna wipe that out, and then would you guys be opposed to him using the remainder of that for the helmets? Matching on helmets?
I have no problem.
Yeah.
Getting good helmets, no, I have no problem with that.
Okay. So that'll take care of that donation money. You have a problem with that, Jeff?
No problem with the purchase order not coming in, but since it's done, and that's what.
Well, that's for the radios.
I know what it's.
Okay. Yeah, I have a problem with that too. Unless, I'm trying to think back if he told us at a meeting when he was out there. And he just wasn't gonna write a purchase order,
She doesn't take from the other.
but I don't remember that. Anything else, Paul?
No, that was just those two cleaned.
All right. Oh,
Maybe there's one more. There you find it.
1 minute, I'll go and then you can.
Yeah, I find where I placed it, unfortunately, sorry.
I guess aside from Laura, again, taking mine, but,
I didn't know you.
no, I know, I'm just kidding. This weekend at the high school, they have the qualifying tournament, the All-States for the wrestling. And we're gonna have, I think, several kids that could end up going to New England's, the big tournament in Mass, which would be great, to Rhode Island, which would be great, and Blake is one of those that's getting a chance to wrestle this weekend, so hopefully those guys do well, and, I guess I just wanna say thanks to, good job Frank's done, and the rest of the guys at the fire department. They've really, really stepped up at a time where things could have gone really, really wrong. And they proved it with that fire, man. They were They were amazing at that fire, and I'm just really impressed with everybody down there and the job all our guys are doing, and the town should be happy and proud with how they've stepped up and done what they've done for us. So that's it for me. Oh yeah, find it?
Yeah, we received a email from Holly Morgan, who is working on the FEMA refunds for the windstorm that occurred back in
15 or 16, wasn't it?
17, I think.
2017.
Yes, 2017. The refunds for the equipment and the work that was done has been all taken care of. What this request is for is the cost for the town to input the paperwork for the refunds. How much time was spent, payroll sheets, proving that, whatever. I don't have any of those records. I think probably most of that was done during regular working hours, like the chief doing his normal 40 hours, whatever.
The chief,
Right, we would have done that, and same with the,
do you know the dates?
that's just it, we don't have the dates of the work that he worked on.
No, but the dates that they were turned in, the original one was turned in, do you know?
No, I don't have any of that.
Oh, so they wanna know if it was extra.
This is just to reimburse us for the labor of generating the paperwork.
Mhm.
And they want proof of timesheets and stuff, and I don't have. We have the option of refusing to apply, or we can do a lot of digging. We have 12 hours to do the rest of the digging.
12 hours to do the rest of the day?
Probably cost more to do the day than you get back.
Yeah, I mean, would it probably have taken 2 hours worth of time to do that, submit those?
It probably took a lot of time, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's spread out over a long period of time. So.
Right.
And it was.
And I'm sure the
all done.
timesheets don't document it, so even if we find the time that it was done, we wouldn't be able to get a refund because it wouldn't say in the timesheet that.
It can't be part of their normal working stuff, it has to be extra. type.
Yeah, I think we just have to let it go, because I don't think we'd be able to
Yeah.
prove it anyways.
I think in the future, if we have another
Yes,
FEMA,
we should document.
track it,
Yeah.
which I
What
never
we
really.
say, details, details, details.
So.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's true.
Alright, my turn. Alright, cool. So, just a reminder,
Oh, yeah, Jeff, thank you
oh yeah,
for what you did with
hey, you guys,
Roger and that.
you guys closed the
That was
deal.
great.
Good job, everybody. But I appreciate it, they're a good group of guys and ladies, and they'll do a great job for the town, and, it's gonna work out for the best. But so, what I got is, Chuck had, talked to me about being involved with Babe Ruth, so Chuck is gonna help me with the Babe Ruth. So with that said, Laura, thank you for the applications. So I'm gonna do an sign up for Babe Ruth on March 6th, from 6 to 8 with the Grange information meeting. So I'm just gonna have the applications available for that date, cause they said we gotta get stuff in by April. That way we know for sure we have a team. So again, March 6th, 6 to 8, we're gonna do the Babe Ruth sign ups, and we're doing the Grange meeting as well, we're gonna do both of them together, cause we already got the gym.
Let me ask you a question, is there a way, if Deb wouldn't mind helping out the town, putting a link or something on your website, or where people could contact you?
Like Sign Up Genius or something maybe?
Yeah, maybe something along those lines, and we could get them an application, so if they can't make it out, it might get.
I'd be okay, I know you can do that, it's gonna be a big group, right?
Get me the application.
Okay.
That way people don't have to drive, or they're doing something that night, or.
Thank you.
You know, just
And
going
then
for a
they can just
wayside.
send it right in, we can do early registration.
Yeah, so that's what I wanna do with the Grange meeting, that's go, state people coming in, got a good response to that, thank you for getting that out to people. I've been trying to share it over and over, and just gonna remind them until next week when it comes up. So most of the Babe Ruth sign up, cause that's kinda pressed for time. So, got a couple phone calls today, from some people that are willing to help as well with the field and stuff, get some stuff taken care of. And I spoke to Roman Joe's, one of the owners, and they're willing to sponsor the Babe Ruth team up.
Which one, Joe?
Which Roman Joe's? I don't know, he didn't really want me to say his name, but he's one of the owners. he started the company. I used to coach with him. Alright, so,
Several rooms.
he's a good guy, and he used to live in Lebanon. He coached Babe Ruth with me forever. I'm not Babe Ruth, we did a little league together, all stars and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's gonna, I told him to hang tight, that's what we need for, money, I'm gonna get back to him on it, and,
Free coffees for the guys after the game.
listen, I get free coffee anytime I see him probably, you know? So I just wanna say thank you to Roman Joes for reaching out and, replying and responding to that.
My daughter works for them, so.
There you go, yeah, the owner I used to coach with.
I don't know if he owns the ones that.
Actually, a couple of the owners I coached with.
So what's the fee?
We're gonna go 75, they had it over 100.
We had it at 100 or 95 or 100.
Oh, they said 100 plus like something else, but yeah, you're probably right, you were doing it. So yeah, so we're gonna go with 75 to start with, see if that works, cause I'm just trying to get the bare minimums, as you know, we've been doing the American Legion baseball forever. I get extra equipment and extra jerseys if we need to start with those, if we don't have nothing available. So we're gonna try to get the kids signed up. I was told by Chris Stokes, there were several kids that could potentially be age eligible to play because he's still involved with the Little League. So, you know, thank you for him to reaching out to me as well. But yeah, so I just want to, you know, thank Roman Joe. So I said just let them know what we need, and once we figure it out, let them know what we need. And then, of course, I want to thank York County EMA and York County Fire Administrator for coming in.
And the commissioner.
And the commissioner. Yeah, the commissioner, you guys still spoke to the York County Administrator.
He was commissioner, wasn't he?
No,
Administrator.
Yeah.
Administrator, Zenza, Greg Zenza. Yeah, he's been, his staff and his people have been super helpful as well, so, but yeah, so I just wanna say thank you to them. And, I think that's it for me right now, I just wanna, thanks Chuck for helping me out, Laura, thank you, so we'll get it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully we get enough kids and we'll have a Babe Ruth team.
Think so?
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's it for me, so that was easy, good stuff.
Alright.
I make a motion, we go into executive session. Oh, no, you didn't let Deborah talk.
Alright, you gotta be quick. 7:45, we're behind, go ahead.
So, I just had a couple of things, we had a double ordination, here on the Center Road, I think they started, Jeff and everyone.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, our county commissioner, Bob Andrews, who is ordained right up there at First Parish Congregational Church on Saturday, and along with John Solby, who I think he's shouting.
He's a member there.
Well, both ordained there, and it was a lovely service, very nice, very powerful, actually, and I just wanted to congratulate them both for making that step, it's huge. The other thing is that we've created a GoFundMe account. Everybody was asking how they could donate towards the old townhouse / new Legion building. There is a GoFundMe account, it's up on LMTS, and I'm not sure where Jim is sharing it to, Commander Craig is sharing it to, but he's asked me a couple times for the link to share it, so I know he's sharing it other places too, probably on Legion pages. But if people are interested in helping with that, they're looking to raise $150,000 through that, and right away, great start, right off the bat, great start, so I'm real happy with that. We've been contacted by a couple of bands who are interested. First time I've ever been contacted by bands looking to play for Lebanon Cleanup Day. Usually I'm calling and begging, so keep up the good work, everybody. I mean, everybody's just been out there, and it's been such a great and growing response every year that now bands are looking to come here and play, and that's so humbling to me because I've always had to beg. So I want to thank the folks at Voodoo Cadillac, and Michael Quigley is 3 Shades of Grey, and a couple other people who have reached out to me, and we're starting to make some headway on that. So I wanted to encourage everybody, if you have a booth and you're looking to help spread some conservation or Earth Day love that day, please come on down. The booth space is free. We don't charge. We have free hot dog barbecue, and everybody has a great time, and that's after the cleanup day. That's April 18th, you guys approved that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for
them, April
the video,
18th.
because I don't wanna keep it.
Did you want me to come in and sing?
Would you come in and sing?
If you want everybody to run away.
Come on,
We'll schedule you at 3 o'clock.
I think we should all vote for Jeff to sing. So, yeah,
I'll be gone by then.
the next thing is that that nice voucher for veterans thing, and I'm sure you talked to Jean, because she asked me to
I gotta actually
take
call
you
her,
off.
so.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I gotta
Because
call her.
I told her, but I figured you already did.
I gotta, she was gonna send it to me.
But she did say, ask me to thank y'all for working with her, and she's really looking forward to having this event in Lebanon. And I want to give a 2 thumbs up to Steve and Alicia for allowing us to have it there. It's going to be fantastic, and we're so excited. So, that's a
What was
big
the
thing
date
to
on that
community
again?
property. And that is June 13th with a rain date of June 14th.
What's the name of the farm, so everybody knows?
Belgian Meadow Farms
There you go.
on Merchants Row in Lebanon. Yeah. And then also I'm working on with the American Legion on doing renting a bus and hopefully getting some people from Lebanon up to the bicentennial. First bicentennial parade, which is in May 16th. So I'm hoping that people see this. If they're interested, they'll start getting in touch with me, and I'm gonna put it out on LMTF. And I'm working on the bus now, so I need to kind of start getting an idea of how many people are interested in going, so I know what size bus to rent for the day. But that ought to be fun. Lewis and Norman, our own ADB's pulling New York County float. I'm so proud of him for getting that done. And I think that, I'm pretty sure that's that.
May 18th,
May.
bicentennial, is that what you said?
What is?
Bicentennial, what date?
16th, May 16th. Yeah, so sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oh, and one more thing. I will be gone all day tomorrow. Everybody's free to roam around the country. I'm going to my Big Red Cross training tomorrow in Massachusetts. All day. So.
Well, shady stuff to do tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Got a free day off tomorrow. All your secrets, So, yeah, I appreciate it very much, and y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Evan.
Good job.
Get your copy of the application.
Yeah, please.
I make a motion, we go into executive session for personnel matters pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A.
Okay.
All in favor?
You have it with you?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
It was fun.
Enjoy me, yeah.
Yeah,
Ideas.
You're trying to hijack me while
James, you know that you got a bill for your hours to the town. Make sure he gets an invoice to send it the check.
You can't afford my rates.
No, he can't. He's the one. He's borrowing you. Hey, have a good night, man.
Bye, Dana.
So if things go south at the station, instead of a truck, we'll ask for a station.
Good night.